All right, today we're going to unmask something pretty spooky, an invisible threat that's haunting one of the world's most popular seafood industries. Let's dive into this story of a very modern and very real ghost in the water. But to really understand this new threat, we actually have to start with a different kind of ghost, one that's, a lot more familiar to millions of people. So, in places like Taiwan, the 7th month of the lunar calendar is called Ghost Month. The belief is that the gates of the underworld swing open, and spirits can come back to visit the world of the living. And to welcome them, families put out these amazing feasts and burn incense for their spiritual visitors. Now, here's the really important part about this tradition. It's all about respect and appeasement. These cultural ghosts aren't seen as destructive or something that causes financial loss. No, the whole point is to maintain balance and harmony between the two worlds. But a new kind of ghost has started to appear. And this one, it doesn't follow any calendar, and it sure isn't interested in offerings. This phantom is very, very real, and all it brings is devastation. Which leads us to a pretty critical question. What happens when the most destructive ghosts aren't the ones from old stories, but are hiding right under our noses? Or, in this case, right under the water? And here it is. Meet the real ghost of our story. It's a disease that's been given a perfectly chilling name, translucent post-larva disease, or TPD for short. It's a truly invisible menace. The name tells you pretty much everything you need to know. TPD hits shrimp when they're at their most vulnerable, right at the beginning of their lives. The infection literally causes their bodies to become transparent, making them look like tiny little ghosts before they just vanish. So how does this haunting actually work? What does this disease do to its victims that's so terrifying? The signs are just chilling. First, the shrimp's entire body becomes see-through. Then, its hepatopancreas, which is a super important organ, kind of like their liver and pancreas combined, it just wastes away to nothing. They stop eating completely, so their gut is totally empty. And the scariest part? All of this happens incredibly fast. Now, I want you to just look at this number, 90%. Let that sink in for a second. That's the mortality rate we're talking about in a tank that gets infected. It's a near total wipeout. And here is the absolute horror for farmers. This level of devastation happens in less than 48 hours, 2 days. By the time they even notice something is wrong, it's probably already too late. There is just no time to react. So what is this microscopic monster? Well, scientists basically had to go on a ghost hunt to unmask the pathogen and figure out how to fight it. And there it is, the ghost unmasked. The cause is a hypervirulent strain of a bacterium called Vibrio parahemolyticus. We can just call it VP for short, because that's a mouthful. Now, you might be thinking, wait, Vibrio bacteria are pretty common in the ocean, right? And you'd be correct. But this strain, this is a whole different beast. It's got unique genetic traits that let it just storm the shrimp's gut and completely destroy its organs with terrifying speed and efficiency. An attack from a ghost like this doesn't just stay on one farm. Oh no, it sends shockwaves through the entire system. For the farmers, the financial hit is just catastrophic. We're talking about an entire life's investment gone poof in a matter of days. This kind of risk threatens the entire aquaculture industry, hitting small-scale farmers the hardest. And that financial disaster, it ripples all the way down to us, the people buying the shrimp. When outbreaks cause the supply to just plummet, sometimes by 60% or more, you can bet the price at the grocery stores is going to skyrocket. But the consequences don't just stop at your wallet. This tiny little villain poses a very real risk to public health, too. And here's the connection. The exact same bacterium, Vibrio, is a major cause of food poisoning in humans. If you eat contaminated or undercooked shrimp, you could get a nasty case of gastroenteritis. And that doesn't just make people sick, it erodes their trust in the entire seafood industry. Which brings us to the final and most critical question. How do you catch a ghost? How do you even begin to fight an enemy that's this fast and this invisible? Well, the challenges are huge. The pathogen spreads through water effortlessly. It can be brought in by parent shrimp, called broodstock, that are contaminated and nobody even knows it. And to top it all off, the usual testing methods are slow, they need a special lab, and time is the one thing these farmers just don't have. And that leaves us with a final, pretty unsettling thought. TBD is one ghost that we've managed to identify. But in our incredibly complex, interconnected global food system, you have to wonder, how many other invisible threats are out there just silently waiting for their chance to emerge?